Hey Playas, how you doing? You're watching the April 2021 edition of Retro Gaming News. So to kick things off at the start of the month, PacMan 99 was released on the Nintendo Switch. It was free to play. This was an online game that had a bunch of different power-ups and play modes to enhance your Pac-Man experience. And I saw quite a few people playing this game. I haven't had a chance to play it myself, but it does look like it would be quite a bit of fun for a game to just pick up and play. Xenocide is a new game for the Sega Saturn. This is a homebrew game where you are sort of hovering and floating around and shooting some different enemies. It looks really cool, fairly well done. And, you know, the aesthetics are on point of that of the late 90s, early 2000s. Apogee has announced that they are back. Now, you may know Apogee for a few of their different games like Wolfenstein and Duke Nukem, I think, are the two most notable retro games that they have. If you think there's some other different ones worth mentioning, then feel free to mention them in the comments below. Now, they announced that they're coming back and they have a whole bunch of new games in production that'll be coming out soon. Now, a lot of these games didn't have names. The only name I was able to catch was a retro-looking game called Crystal Caves, from the montage that they had of different games for us to expect. Looks like a lot of first-person shooters, both modern and retro-stylized, with a few retro platformers throwing in there. Very interesting to see what they come up with and how these games actually play when they come out. Darkseid Detective Season 2 came out in April. It is called Fumble in the Dark, and it's available on your Switch. I also believe it's on PS4, and a lot of people liked the first season of this series. It's really interesting to see how they're taking these, like a pixelated crime scene investigation detective game and making it like many murder or mystery series would be, where they go through different seasons and have a conclusion and cliffhanger and following that formula. Also, there's a new game coming out called Earthblade. We didn't get to see too much of this. This was announced on one of the Nintendo Directs for their indie world or whatever they are calling it. And we just got a teaser, but this game is going to be by the same people, the same development team that made Celeste. So you can expect it to have some pixel art and probably be a very good game. So there's a lot of buzz around this. I'm sure I'll be revisiting this in the coming months on the Retro Gaming News. The Ultra Edition Wireless 64 controller was announced. I really like the look of this controller and the design. It looks like it's going to be very comfortable. Something that I would have hoped the original design would have been for the N64. This one's going to be wireless, so, you know, it's going to be great for your modern gaming, retro gaming setup. Now, there was a copy of Super Mario Brothers that sold for $660,000 this past month of April, and that is the most I think any Nintendo game, NES game, has ever sold for. That was on Heritage Auctions. I'm sure you're familiar with this site by now because they have had several high-end gaming items sold on this site, this auction site, as well as many high-valued sealed games, often graded by WATA up here, go for sale, that I've talked about in the past on the Retro Gaming News. Netflix has announced Season 4 of Castlevania comes out May 14th. So you could look forward to that. I have enjoyed this series so far, the last 3 seasons. The fourth season, I believe they said, is going to be the last. So it promises to be a good one. The trailer is just jam-packed with action. And this isn't for kids. This isn't necessarily a retro gaming cartoon, but you're going to recognize a lot of characters and different things going on within the series that pay tribute to a lot of the older games. So I'm sure if you're a retro gamer, you're going to like this, and I wanted to include this in the retro gaming news. Now, what you are really going to like is this game called Spacegulls by MorphCat Games that was just released for the NES. I think I bought it off itch.io for like $3 or something. It was really cheap, but it was a blast to play. And I just played that on stream 2 weeks ago. If you're not following Playas Guide on Twitch, I stream every Saturday night new retro games and homebrew games or new games for older consoles. So if you're into retro gaming news and you're watching this, you might be interested in taking a first look at a lot of different games on my stream, which is what I've been doing. Another game that I'll be streaming soon on the channel is the one that was free to download called Arcade Rush. This is another NES homebrew game. Haven't played it yet, but like I said, I'll be playing it on stream, and I'll try to link it below for you to go check out, and you can play it yourself because it's absolutely free. And Spacegulls, another great one. Lots of really good stuff coming out for the NES all the time. The homebrew scene there never disappoints. Finally, Naruto Boy. This game was popular on the Switch. It recently just got released on the PS4 during this past month of April 2021. And there is a special deluxe collector's edition out, and it sells for 11,000 euros. Why does it sell for 11,000 euros? Is it because it comes with a cassette? No, probably not. It's because it comes with a full-sized arcade with the game on it, which is amazing, but, you know, a little bit out of my price range for what I'm going to pay for an indie game. But very interesting and cool that this does exist. If you'd like to see more Playas Guide, like I said, follow us on Twitch and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also find Playas Guide on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're looking to stay as current as possible with all your retro gaming news and video game collecting news, and you want to talk video games, then join the Playas Guide Discord linked below, because Playas Guide wants to be your source for retro gaming. That's it for this episode of Playas Guide. I'll see you next month for the retro gaming news. Later, Playas.